the same colored one, and I didn't wear the same colored shirt. So anyhow, great to have everybody here. Let's go.
To the Sales Slap podcast, where we hit you with the hard truths, bold strategies, and expert insights you need to master the art of selling. And who's leading the charge? Meet your hosts, Rick Denley, Simon Hares, and Scott Donald. Get ready for real talk, expert advice, and game-changing strategies. Because in sales, you don't just play, you slap. Let's dive in.
That's the sound effect. We need more of that.
Here's the sound effect. Scott, for some reason, wants the sound effect of the slapping coming on more and more. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Sales Slap podcast with your hosts, myself, Rick Denley, Scott Donald, and unfortunately, no Simon Hares today as he's busy working with his amazing clients. But wait just a minute. What do we have here?
What?
Wait a minute.
There he is.
Look at that.
Look at him. Look how adorable he looks.
Welcome, Simon. I didn't think you were going to make it today.
Oh, blokes, I couldn't miss a great day like today. We have a cracking guest on. How's that?
That was pretty good. What about the Lego?
Oh, I don't have any Lego, but I do have a Star Trek figurine that I'll pull up later.
All right, good. So fans of Simon, we're sorry he's not here. He apologizes, but he is doing great work with clients like he always does. But what we do have as a guest is absolutely terrific here. And I want to introduce her first here. Let's get her on, but just so you can see her while I introduce her here. An experienced business development executive and dynamic business builder in the energy, telecom, and IT industries. Great industries. Focused on growth and skills in long-term strategy development. We love strategy here on Sales Lab. Organizational structure optimization. I like the word optimization. Go-to-market strategy, sales and project development, financial management, business operations, and leading high-performance teams to success.
That sounds impressive.
High performance. You know I like high performance, so peak performance is even better. A leader that builds all of these great things in teams. Sales Slap community, welcome to this edition of Sales Slap with our incredible guest, Loraleigh. Loraleigh, welcome to our show.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you, Scott, for having me. That sounded a lot.
Isn't it a lot? When you read it, you kind of go, yeah, I've done some good stuff in my time. You know what? It's not half bad when you boil it all.
A lot of big words. Yeah.
There is a lot of big words there. But listen, Scott wanted to have you on our program because he's worked with you in the past and he said the great things that you do and how innovative you are. And we just want to dive right into it and learn more about you and what you can share with our viewers. First off, where are you checking in with us from?
Well, I am checking in with you guys today from beautiful Calgary, Alberta. That is home base for me.
Love Western.
Where are you from originally, Loraleigh?
Oh, there's a good question and something I'm incredibly proud of. I'm one of the original born and raised Banff girls. So the beautiful town of Banff is what I call home. It's my happy place. It is the place where I can go and decompress. It's where we walk around with our dog in the mountains. It's just where you breathe some good, clean air. And it's only an hour away out the front door, 1 hour in the car, and I'm there. So that's home for me. And it's part of my heart. It's part of my DNA. So yeah.
And I heard in there that you're a dog person, as we are as well.
That's why Loraleigh's on the show, because if she was a cat person, he wouldn't be on today.
Scott's got Duffy. I've got Rusty. Simon has Artie. What's your dog's name?
Oh my goodness. Our dog is named Ronald. And we had the good fortune of meeting Ronald 2 years ago, and he's a rescue. And he came into our lives, and we are just so happy that he did, because they just make life better. They just make life better. So
I can probably find a picture of Ronald actually while I'm looking.
Well, you look that up, Scott. We're going to dive into this for a minute. I understand that you make life better too, especially for the people that you work for. So I want to start off on a broad-based umbrella type of question for you, and I'm going to throw this one at you. And these are not rehearsed. Oh, look at Ronald.
Look how handsome he is.
He's a handsome boy. Yes.
All right, let's get back to it.
Thanks, Scott.
General question for you as a leader of all these divisions and peoples and things like that. What are you doing to build that type of culture that attracts these top talent your way in either telecom or IT industries that you're part of? What are some of the things that you do to create that type of culture that attracts and retains top talent?
It's an awesome question, Rick. And I don't know if I have a specific formula. I just make sure that I bring myself to the party 100% of the time. And I tell everybody. And I think people, when they get to know me, know that I'm exactly the same as at the office as I am at home. For me, it's incredibly important to build personal connections. It's incredibly important for me to get to know the person that I'm working with. And it's really important for me to come to work and tell the team and expect of the team a baseline. And my baseline for everybody is that you are coming to work to do a good job. You are coming to work to want to do the best you possibly can and bring your A game. And to me, that's the baseline that a team has to work from. We have to come together and really understand that everybody's bringing their best every single day. And so that kind of helps avoid any finger pointing, any politics. I don't have time for that. We are all trying to move in the same direction. And I say those words directly, that is my expectation. That is my belief. And I think from that, you get a sense of, hopefully my teams get a sense of comfort. I hope they get a sense of trust, because you get that out of the gate with me.
Okay. All right. So trust up front right away. You get full trust until you break it, right?
Well, I believe in people and I believe in the good in people, and I have to stay in that lane. And like I said, people come to work to want to do a good job. They don't hit the door in the morning and go, I'm going to really screw up today. They're bringing the best they possibly can.
But I like I got a couple things out of that. I just want to reiterate for our viewers, baseline to start with sounds like accountability to me. You're coming in at this level to start with right away. And in doing so as well, though, you're going to get as a leader, full trust and support right up front if you arrive and show up that way. Is that correct?
Can you repeat that, Rick? Sorry, I cut out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just reiterating that you're setting a baseline, which to me is accountability. Everybody should show up at this particular level and go from there. And then doing so as well, they're going to have your support and your trust. I heard trust in there, which is so important now. Right up front, full trust.
100%. And it's to me, we're all professionals. We're all adults. And we're all going to do the best we possibly can and manage our worlds and manage our schedules and manage our days in the best way we can.
Wonderful. I love that so much. That's excellent. Scott, what do you have for Loraleigh today? What do you want her to share? Because you know her very well. And you said, boy, she can really share some great things with our viewers here.
So I'm looking here at Loraleigh's LinkedIn profile, and she started at Sprint Canada in 1995, and I started in 1994. So we've known each other for that long. And one of the things that Loraleigh said, and I'm going to reiterate this, is that Loraleigh is one of the most genuine, authentic people I've ever met. And this comment about does Loraleigh you see at work is the same that you see at home. I've known Loraleigh outside of the professional setting as well. And I think so what's interesting, and Loraleigh, you and I have talked about this notion of in leadership, and then let's talk specifically sales, that one of the things that you can bring to the table is for people to see you, right? And we've talked about this idea that sometimes people feel like they have to put a hat on or put on a sales face.
Correct.
And I'm of the belief that what really attracts people to us and builds that trust, like you were just talking about, is the notion that they can sense that this person is 100% real. I'm not getting a BS facade. I'm seeing Loraleigh, or I'm seeing whoever my sales rep is in their true authentic form with the intention of helping me solve a problem.
Yes. I don't believe you have to walk into work to do business development and put on a different hat. I don't believe that it is anything other than being authentic and being naturally curious about what the client has to say, and really just trying to understand the impacts and the pressures that the client is facing and see if you can solve a problem. And in some cases you can, in some cases you can't, but all the way along, you're building functional, positive, inclusive, and interesting relationships.
Yeah. So you said one of my favorite words again, curiosity. So I feel like what we're doing here is we're sort of building that foundation of the essential element to being a good business development or salesperson, and that is that genuine, being your authentic self, but also that curiosity, and the curiosity in the sense of exploring how you can help people. So maybe, I mentioned to you before that we had a guest on 2 weeks ago that talked about curiosity, and now we're kind of building on this as well. And so why do you feel? And I'm going to do this as the symbol that I never wanted to see again. Why do you think that being curious, along with being real and genuine, is so important for business professionals?
Well,
And
it creates
can we
authenticity.
explain that symbol as well?
Well,
Sure, I can, and it's something that, you know, when you go through life for as long as I have so far, you do weird things, and my weird thing is that I always encourage my people to pop their head up, and maybe that's a symbol for an ostrich. You pop your head up and you look around, and you take a
do it.
broader.
You know, you didn't do it right, Loraleigh. Do it like
I
fully
didn't.
get into this. Come on, come on.
You didn't do it right, and my teams get sick of seeing that. Let me tell you, and there it is. It's been going on for a long time.
But it sticks that way. It makes it
It
memorable
does.
when you've got a nice motion like a.
Exactly.
Everybody with us now.
I think you got to make the
pop
sound
our
effect.
head up.
You're looking around. Ooh. Okay,
We're gonna
sorry.
be curious here.
So
All right.
let's dig this
That's
whole
serious.
curiosity thing. I love the topic, and I love
Yeah.
what you've talked about before. So why is that so important for people who are, whether you're talking business development or sales or leadership? Why is it so important to be curious?
Yeah.
Kind of exercise that muscle.
Well, I think it serves two purposes. I think it's if you can't come curious, if you can't come to the party, you can't come to the situation curious, then to me it almost feels like you don't have a right to have the sale. I think if we can't really truly authentically understand what, as I said, the client is dealing with, or the industry that the client is operating in, and what that industry is going through, then you're not going to authentically be able to support the client through the long term. You may get a sale here and there, but you're not going to be a long-term, real trusted advisor or partner with the client.
Yeah.
So the pop up the head is take a breath, take a beat, and stand back a bit, get out of yourself, check the ego at the door, and come
Love
in
it. Love it.
and honestly say, like, I just don't know enough about you. I don't know enough about your industry. I think you do have to come somewhat prepared. And I talk to my teams all the time about how are you getting your news, right? And I think news it can be overwhelming, especially in our day and age today. But I also believe it behooves us as citizens of the world to be able to understand what's going on, what's happening with politics a little bit, what's happening with particular industries that our country is really dependent on.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to go and actually invest in some news. Not to the point where you're curled up in a ball in a corner, which, if too much of it, I think these days can potentially do that, but balance it to understand where your clients are operating, how they're operating. And as I said, what they're facing on a daily basis. That really generates, being able to understand that generates great questions. It generates a natural curiosity. It serves you. Yes. You're going to be more invested in the conversation, and you're going to learn more. And for the client, it's really, really authentically showing that you care. So that notion of, I face it a lot as I coach and mentors some up and coming, business development professionals. They're just starting out in their career. They feel they have to walk in and it's a one call close, or they're going to put their client in a hostage situation where they're going to force feed the pen on them. It's never going to happen. I always say the client's not going to buy if they don't want to. Unless, of course, you go to Costco and you buy a box of crackers and then you're going to buy a canoe at the same time. That's the only situation. But if you're walking into, professional boardrooms and organizations, you better know what's going on a little bit, and then be humble enough to be curious and ask open-ended questions, just to say, teach me. My favorite word is teach me, because I do not ever walk into any situation knowing everything. I don't know everything at all.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Loraleigh.
None of us do.
I think it's a great approach, and it's interesting when we become curious and we show that we care. And nobody's going to buy from somebody or work for somebody or follow somebody that they don't care, that they don't show that they care. Last week, case in point, there was a German technology show here in Toronto, and there are many suppliers and distributors there from my old industry that I was part of for 25 years. And I went to that show, and
You started in that industry when you were 12, Rick?
Yeah, pretty much. Thank you. Thanks, Scott. One for Scott, like that. And I went to the show, and I reconnected with a lot of people that I hadn't seen in several years since COVID and all the changes, and the shows are coming back now. And we had some great conversations. The other important part was that there was a panel, and there was a panel of associations and presidents that run the associations for the organizations. our minister was there for Ontario, for Minister of Trade, and he had some great things to share that were going to help solve some of the challenges of the industries that we talk about and that I work within as well. So then when I was able to go back and see some of my potential clients and speak to them about it, I said, well, how are we going to handle this particular challenge? And because I was curious and I'd gone to the event, I heard what the challenges were,
Right.
and they liked that idea. So, oh, you took an interest in us. You're not just here to push a product or a service on us, but you actually took an interest in our difficulties here. And maybe I created a unique and personalized, customized solution for them that they're going to be more interested in. And I just heard that when we spoke. First off, the fact that I showed up and I was at the event. And secondly, when I met with them to say, how are we going to handle this? So I love that piece of the curiosity and getting involved and engaged with your clients and learning more. Great point.
Right on.
So,
it means the world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build on something that Loraleigh just what you guys both made the point of. I think sometimes business development folks want to show that they're credible and they're smart and they want to showcase that. And how do we showcase? We typically do that song and dance about how great we are. But Loraleigh, when you were chatting, it reminded me of this idea of we can show our credibility and our expertise and our knowledge, as Rick just demonstrated, by asking questions that are informed by things that are happening in the industry or things that are happening in the community. And so, what do you say to the notion of being curious and asking great, well-informed, educated questions is another way to demonstrate our credibility and our expertise without having to do the song and dance and the brochure and all that stuff?
Right.
Well, I think it just goes hand in hand. And I mean, that's a good point, Scott. It does do that, but I don't, when you go to that situation or when you're going to go and do your research, as I like to say, and when you go and invest in understanding a bit more before you walk in the door or sit at the boardroom table. I guess what am I trying to say is that it doesn't, to me, it's not a contrived situation that I'm going in to try to build credibility. I'm going in to genuinely take an interest in the situation I'm in and genuinely bring my best self to it. And I want to know more, learn more. And I think that you have to have that in you to be able to do this kind of a role. I think you have to be really invested in wanting to, back to that curiosity. I think it's certainly, that's the result. It brings the credibility, but I don't go in going, I better improve on my credibility. No. I go in genuinely thinking, I don't know enough. But again, I go back to that humble piece. You have to be okay to be able to say, I don't know enough about you. I don't know enough about the industry. Please teach me. Please take me through your situation. And I talk to the teams and I say, I need you to stay in that place for as long as you can.
Yeah. And I agree with you 117.5% at the National Scientific number. I think that maybe the point that I'm making it is that while that may not be the intention to show credibility and expertise, I think it's maybe a byproduct of being prepared and being professional and wanting to know what's happening in their community or what's happening in the industry. I just think it's a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I'm looking at my notes here from some of our recent conversations, and if we work on the premise that people don't always know how to get into that vein of being curious, like it's not natural. And we talked about how do you give them some structure, and you said something recently about this. Tell me more about. And my favorite thing is help me understand. And this whole notion of building the inventory of great questions to ask. And I think, to your point, the other thing that I've read from smarter people than me is when you ask somebody for their opinion or help me understand or tell me more, that actually there's something that happens at a human level that is like, oh, Loraleigh is asking me to help me understand, or Loraleigh wants me to tell her more about this. People's natural human tendency is to want to talk about their business or their industry or their role. And it sounds like what you're doing with the tell me more about is giving them the opportunity, the green light to share with you more than maybe they were intending to.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great thought to think about paralleling the line of questioning to potentially your sales funnel. Okay. So the more in, the more chance you have to bring something out of the bottom into the win column. And I always say, stay, there it is again. There it is again. There's the ostrich popping up. But if you think about it, now you're going to use that.
Yeah.
Stay in industry, and your line of questioning needs to stay focused on the bigger picture. So you think about the industry that client is living in, right? And the client is living in an industry right now that has pressures, that has challenges, that has opportunities, and all those things. And I want you to stay, and I want my teams to stay there as long as they possibly can to really drip out good information and intelligence on it. Then you can move it into the client themselves, and then you say, okay, customer ABC, how do those pressures in the industry affect you specifically? What operational changes are you making to be able to navigate it better?
All right, let me ask this.
What strategy?
Great. I just want to be the devil in the room for a minute. So, okay, the questioning period is very important. The questions we ask, we want to get in depth, we want to learn more. Then we make it personal with the individual. How does that impact you specifically? So when do we break out of this? Because literally at some point in time, the questioning has to end. We've gathered enough information, and everybody in sales is different regarding, okay, I've got 80% of the information. I'm moving on now. Some want 100%. I doubt they ever get it. What are the indicators? When is it time to move forward? When do you start putting together solutions and proposals and things like that? How do we know when to do that? Because I don't want my sales team sitting in question mode forever, because I'll never get a sale. So when is the time to move forward?
That's a great one. And I think when is the time? And that's a hard one to determine. But I think guys, I'm having a connection issue on this side. So I'm going to just mute for a minute and then try again with a different
yeah, sure. Make an adjustment.
Is that okay?
Yep. And so while Loraleigh is doing that, I'm gonna add my 2 cents in here. I'm curious about what Loraleigh has to say.
Yeah.
I've worked with people that want to do discovery and presentation all on the same meeting. And so my view on this is that if you're going in there in that first meeting to do discovery, my 2 cents is you stay in that lane, and that's a discovery meeting. That's a qualifying meeting. And if both parties feel like it makes sense to move to the next step, then you do it. But I think if you try to do too much in that meeting, you're going to tend to cheat the discovery process.
And you got to be pretty good if you're going to jump sales stages in the process within one meeting. I'm not saying some salespeople aren't, but you've got to be pretty solid. And if you're selling a technical solution as well, and you might need assistance in building that unique solution,
you're going to probably bring somebody in. So Loraleigh, I just gave my 2 cents on this. So let's see if we're aligned on when do you shift from discovery and questioning and curiosity to solution mode?
When do you go to the next stage?
I think I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
Good. Let's go. Yeah. Can you hear us okay? Because Scott was just asking.
So I just
said, okay.
Yeah.
So Scott said he gave us his 2 cents as to when you move forward onto the next stage. When do you think the questioning period ends and we start moving on to providing solutions for our clients?
A good one. And I don't know if there's an actual moment in time. I can feel it. I guess that's not a really good way to coach people in terms of how to do that. But what I often find, Rick, is that people go there too quickly. We always rush to talk about ourselves too much, too much. And I'm just saying and suggesting a longer pause in industry, a longer pause in understanding the client and how they're operating within that industry. And then what I also love to use is a bit of a technique called Did You Know? A lot of people feel that, and especially I'm in a technical world. I work for RAM Consulting. We're a leading project delivery firm in North America. I work with a ton of wonderfully talented engineers, technical specialists, project managers. And I think that sometimes it puts them, not in every case, but sometimes folks feel that business development and sales, as you put on that hat and you have to walk in and do the thing, it's very daunting and nerve-wracking, just like it'd be daunting and nerve-wracking for me to engineer a transmission line. At the same time, the tendency is to go directly into talking about my company or me, right? And all I'm
Right.
asking for is a natural pause. The did you know technique is more of an allowing them and us the opportunity to put our company and our things over here and speak objectively about them from a distance, so that people don't feel that stigma of high pressure sales and pushing the solution down the throat. It's just an ability to say, if the client is saying that we're really facing challenges in this political environment, the projects right now in Canada are slowing down or
Yeah.
speeding up, depending on. I relate it back to, well, did you know we're facing the same thing? Did you know we're facing the same thing? At my company, we're a leading project delivery firm of choice in North America, and our business and our growth is dependent upon these projects. So like you, as you're waiting for your project to be approved or sanctioned or permitted, I'm waiting for it too.
That's an interesting approach, where you side with the client with similar challenges.
Aligning, yeah.
And then I know what's coming next probably is, and here's how we're figuring it out right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it
Right.
becomes second nature. So that's when it's a tougher question when you ask, when do you do that? We can't forget that we're in a conversation, right? Scott and I had a good conversation recently about the process of it. And I don't want to over process it.
No.
Because then you remove, or it limits the ability to have a natural conversation.
Natural.
Because you're too busy thinking about, oh my God, I've got to move it to the next stage. I've got to move it to the next. And my conversations aren't contrived, right? There is that risk of coming across contrived for people. And it's a muscle that you start, after 8 million years in this industry.
Feels like it some days.
You must use a really good moisturizer if you've been in this for 8 million years.
But
the dinosaur days, but ostrich days.
With a little short arm.
Yeah.
Instead of this. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I struggle with when and the how and the processing of it, because then it will, for people that it doesn't maybe come as naturally to.
Right. But here's what I'm hearing from you as a leader, and I'm always observing this, but I'm hearing you as a leader. You're giving your salespeople teams permission, not and no pressure to advance the sale too quickly as well. Do it stage by stage. Be thorough in what you're doing, and you're not focusing on just leaping through the stages to get to the end result. Right? Yeah, which usually, if you do that, your end result's not going to be what you want it to be. So
I had a chance this past week. I was out in Vancouver with the crew, and I had a chance to talk about exactly that. So this is actually very timely, and it wasn't planned. It's very timely. I told a story about, when I was in telecom and IT for about 18 years, and then I moved over into the energy industry, which has just been so fascinating and exciting. And I knew nothing about it at the time. And I recall vividly one of my first appointments in 2015 was with a large major utility on the West Coast. And it took 7 years to get business out of that relationship. And we took 7 years to build a relationship, to build the credibility. It's long term, and it was worth it. It was worth it. It's so you can't rush it.
Right.
You rush it, you might get one opportunity. You may not get the second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, 10th.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. How is that relationship that took 7 years to build? How is it now?
It's excellent.
Yeah, it's solid, isn't it? You just did all the ground.
It's one that's then focused forward long term. It's solid, and it's we want to, we all want world domination. We all want to sign the biggest deals out there. But at the end of the day, like, not at any cost.
Right.
And it's people also have to be invested in the fact that this is my reputation. This is my calling card and my brand. And you have to be very entrenched in that and very assured about it. And you're not going to do anything at any cost. Yeah. And the time will come, or the time won't come. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's going to work. It's not going to work. It's me. I showed a slide in my presentation this past week. Also, there was, back in a long time ago, I was so excited and proud of the fact that I was able to foster a relationship in the States for a major
Mhm.
retailer,
Okay.
a major retailer, and they were looking to build all of their orders and order center and processing up in Canada. They were really moving their entire business model into our country.
Smart
Took a
move.
year and a half to do it, and I remember the day vividly when I got the call, and I couldn't be more excited. And to this day, I am still have a relationship with the wonderful lady that I got to know and that made the decision. So
That's
for me,
relationship building in
yeah,
itself.
but that's why I do this job. Like, I know that sounds so flaky and contrived, and it's
It doesn't
not.
though. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
But I know, but it's people, everybody says that, but it's for me, that's the stuff I go to work for, right?
Yeah, and what
That's
you've done
also,
right there.
but Loraleigh,
Sorry.
that's also why people want to work with you and for you.
Oh, thank
Because that, when I hear what you're talking about, again, we've worked together for a lot of years, and I'm thinking about a client that I'm going to go to right after this that
Yeah.
took 4 years to earn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now the rate is now it's fantastic. So I think it's that balancing act between people tend to rush the process, and we won't actually go down this rabbit hole because I see we're at 30 minutes. But I
Yeah.
think when people rush the process based on their agenda,
Mm.
that's when salespeople get the reputation of, I'm looking at our notes here, of being icky or smarmy. It's
Yeah.
when you push your process or your timeline versus the customers,
Yeah.
you're then going to risk the relationship because now you're
Yeah.
acting, I hate this, but you're acting salesy. And I think part of what makes you so good at what you do and why you're so why you're in the role that you're in is because it is genuine. I think if you don't start with that, now I'm on my soapbox, but if you don't start with that position of being human and conversational and curious and authentic, the rest of it doesn't matter. The rest of it will fall apart if you don't start from that point of genuine concern
Yes.
and
No recovery if
curiosity.
you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Scott, I don't want to miss a point that Loraleigh made in regards to the leadership. And it was kind of embedded in that whole statement that you just made. You with yourself over these years, as well, I'm sure with your people, you're aligning passion with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And when those things align, you love what you do. And that's what you said
Mm-hmm.
as well. So that's amazing. We really appreciate you being on today and sharing so many of these gems with us. One final question. Are you reading anything recently? What's your favorite book? Are there any books that our viewers should be diving into at some point and on the weekend read, since it is a Friday for us here?
Well, you know what, Rick, I'm not going to give you any hard hitting book titles. I'm reading travel books right now. I'm reading Rick Steves' Italian travel book because I want to plan a really great trip. My husband and I to Italy. I've been there before. He hasn't. I have some family there. So that's what I'm reading. So I have got that and I'm walking around with that. And I've got some friends right now that are over in Italy, a couple of friends actually at the same time. So I'm really, really trying to focus forward and plan some time to just go and enjoy this beautiful world of ours a little bit that we haven't
that is
done.
wonderful. I love
Yeah.
that. So how do our viewers get a hold of Loraleigh for more information on sales and leadership and perhaps a trip to Italy? How can they get a hold of you?
Give me a call. No, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm really proud to be choosing to hang my hat right now at RAM Consulting. We're, as I said, a project delivery firm that we have great aspirations to help build sustainable communities in North America. We work in the industries of utilities, infrastructure, transportation, marine. And it's really, really for me exciting because another thing that really fills my cup is the ability to learn more about different industries that I hadn't worked in before, and also some that are really influential to Canada, to our beautiful country, and then also just really making communities thrive. So that's where you can find me. And I love people so much. I love what I do, and was really delighted to have the kind invitation to join you guys today. I love what you're up to.
This is
brought some great
Loraleigh,
information.
I can't stop smiling. I can't stop smiling to have we've known each other for a long time. And I'll just say this: of all the Loraleghs I know, you're my favorite.
Thank you, Scott.
And there he is.
And we told you, Rick, Scott's one of those guys that I accidentally a number of 20 years ago said I love you to. So I'll say it again. Love you guys.
Yeah, well,
Love
we
you too,
appreciate
Loraleigh.
it too. We love all of our guests coming on our show and helping out our amazing viewers. So we appreciate you. And on that note, Scott, who have we got coming up on the next Sales Slap podcast?
Well, that's a great one. So we just
Did I put you on the spot there?
No, the hits keep coming. I'm looking. I don't have it up here, but you know what? On October 3rd, we have Meredith Elliott Powell.
Wow, good.
On the show.
Amazing.
So you know what? I don't know Meredith as well as say maybe Simon does with his fake accent. I don't have any Lego, but I did bring a model of the Enterprise to sort of geek out. Look at him. Look how adorable he is. He's going to be watching.
Excited to have her on our show next podcast.
Yes, Meredith Elliott Powell is our next guest.
Amazing, and thank you. And thank you, Loraleigh, for being here. And thanks to all our viewers as well. Click on the Sales Slap podcast and find us on any of the major platforms, including iTunes and Spotify. Thanks for being here today, and look forward to seeing you on the next Sales Slap podcast.
Thanks, friend.
For attending the Sales Slap podcast, feel free to reach out to your hosts, Rick, Simon, and Scott, and our guests from this episode for more information. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Simon.